Let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
Hey there nation, welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander CheapSkate, and we are back with another episode of the Golden Age. This is a series of Warhammer Fantasy battle reports for 8th edition Warhammer Fantasy, and this is a 2,500 point battle as fought between Odeth as well as myself. My friend Odeth is bringing the Esoteric Order of the Thousand Suns, a Chaos Legion of Tzeentch army, and I'm bringing the Legion of the Hellmouth, a 2,500 point Ogre Kingdoms army. So I'm pretty excited about this one. I'm starting to play my Ogre Kingdoms army at 2,500 points. The first time I actually played with them at this level, I lost against Wood Elves, and I'm really excited to see and try to redeem myself on this second one. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see exactly what we're bringing for this battle report, go ahead and pause and take a look at your own leisure. So with that being said, let's get this battle report on a roll.
Crom, I've never prayed you before. I have no tongue for it. No one, not even you, will remember if we were good men or bad, why we fought, or why we died. No. All that matters is that two stood against many. That's what's important. Balor pleases you, Crom. So grant me one request. Grant me revenge. And if you do not listen, then the hell with you. Assemble the army!
Alright, so let's go talk about the scenario rules for this one. The scenario rules is called Battleline. It's got the most typical standard game of Warhammer there is, with standard deployment as well as standard victory conditions as always. It is our very favorite style of Warhammer to play, and it's the one that we feature the most on this channel. So with the scenario rules over, let's go and talk about the battle plan real quick. Alright, so here's the battle plan. Here's an overhead shot of the entirety on the battlefield. As you can see, my friend Odeth and I are playing on a 4x6 table. I'm deployed on the far side of the table, while my buddy Odeth is deployed on the near side of the table. So pretty much what my plan on this one is to engage my enemy as quickly as I possibly can and destroy them. I mean, it's pretty much the, simple playbook that's coming out of the Ogre Kingdom's army. Pretty much what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to protect my flanks with my Mordheim cavalry on my right-hand side, at the same time use my powder gangers as well as my iron blasters to protect my left-hand flank as well. The only things I'm really worried about in this army so much for the most part are his monsters. This one's kind of a heavy monster list. He's got a Demon Prince as well as a Mutilate Vortex Beast. He's also got Screamers on his left-hand flank as well. Also, this army I'm fighting against is also very magic heavy as well, so I got to worry about a lot of magic missiles as well as direct damage spells coming my way as well, so I do have to worry about that. For the most part, though, his units are kind of soft. His infantry units are actually kind of like 20 strong or 30 strong, like his Zangor there on the left-hand side, but I'm not too worried about those guys too much. I think I take them pretty well as well. So that's pretty much my plan is. I'm going to try to focus on taking out his monsters using my cannons, and then try to take out his armor piecemeal by engaging him in an overwhelming combat. And that's pretty much my battle plan for this one. Alright, so let's go talk about deployment real quick for the Chaos Legion. For the Esoteric Order of the Thousand Suns, over here on the left-hand side, we have 2 units of Screamers of Tzeentch. There are 2 units of 3. The one on the left-hand side is called the Colors Out of Space, while the ones on the right-hand side are called the Hunters of the Dark. And that makes up my friend Odeth's left-hand flank for his deployment. In the center is where most of his army is located at. On the left-hand side, that is the Shadow over Innsmouth. It is a Mutilate Vortex Beast. Right next to him on the right-hand side, that is the Dunwich Horrors. It is a unit of 10 Pink Horrors of Tzeentch with full command. They have a level 1 lore of Tzeentch Wizards, and they also have the Blue Fire Tzeentch for that one. And right behind them, that is called the Zangors. It is a unit of 30 Gore of Tzeentch with full command, marks of Tzeentch hand weapons as well as shield, and they're done up in a column formation of 5 wide as well as 6 deep. And then right next to them on the right-hand side, that is the Stormlords. It is a unit of 20 Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch with full command. They got marks of Tzeentch, hand weapons, and shields, so they're packing on that one. And finally make up his right-hand flank. Up in the front, those guys are the Red Hook Horrors. They're a unit of 10 Pink Horrors of Tzeentch. They got full command as well as level 1 lore of Tzeentch and Blue Fire of Tzeentch as well. Right behind them on the left-hand side, that is Skeksis of Dark Crystals. That is an Exalted Hero of Tzeentch. He's got a Battle Standard Bearer upgrade. He's got a Hand Weapon, Flail, Chaos Armor, as well as riding a Disc of Tzeentch. He's got the Enchanted Shield, Talisman of Preservation, as well as the Third Eye Tzeentch. So he's got the 1-up rollable ward save, Horton's build that he has for that hero. Right next to him on the right-hand side, that is Krakalikos, the Warden of Pathways. He's the army's general. He is a Demon Prince of Tzeentch. He's got Chaos Armor as well as Demonic Flight. He's got a level 4 Lore of Metal. He's got the Sword of Striking, Charm Shield, Dragon Bay Gem, Chaos Familiar. He's got Scaled Skin as well as Soul Feeder. And then finally there on the right-hand side, that is a unit of 5 Chaos Knights of Tzeentch. Those are the Second Sons. They got full command with ensorcelled weapons, Chaos Armor and Shields, as well as Pack and the Standard of Discipline. And that makes up Odeth's right-hand flank on this deployment. Alright, so now jump across the battlefield to my deployment area. Let's go and start out in the back rank there. On the left-hand side, that is the Anvil of El Hell. It is an Iron Blaster. Right next to him on the right-hand side, that is the Hammer of the Gods. That's my second Iron Blaster. And right in front of them, that is the Powder Gangers. It is a unit of 8 Lead Belchers with a Bellower. They're equipped with Lead Belcher guns as well as light armor. And that makes up my left-hand deployment for this battle. And for the most part, in the center of my army is where the rest of my army is located at. So in the center there, leading that unit is Stankum's Legion. That is my Gutstar unit that I have right there. Leading in the front on the left-hand side, that is my hero. That is Korgel the Giant Breaker. He is a bruiser. He's got a he's a Battle Standard Bearer upgrade. He's got a great weapon as well as heavy armor. He's got the Giant Breaker big name as well as a Dragonheim banner, as he's carrying on this one. Right there in the center as well, that is Taijin Khan, the Right Fist of Hell. That is my general. He is a Slaughter Master, level 4 Lord of the Great Maw. He's also my general. He's got the Fencer's Blade, Glittering Scales, as well as Greedy Fists. So most people are trying to hit him up on a 6-up in most cases. Again, you got +1 to Strength and a 6-up Ward save, so that part's kind of cool. And then right next to him on the right-hand side, that is Burps O' Blood, the Pyromaniac of the Steppes. He's my Fire Belly, level 2 Lore of Fire. He's got a great weapon, as well as the Hellheart. Now that unit's called Stankum's Legion they're riding with. It is a unit of 9 Iron Guts with Bellower, as well as Standard Bearer upgrades. They're backing great weapons, as well as heavy armor, as well as a Standard Discipline. So everyone has got a +1 leadership. Hopefully that can kind of solve some of the leadership problems I've been having with my army as of late. So these guys are leadership 9 with a rollable, so they should be pretty good. On my far right hand side, right behind the back rank there, those are the Red Rovers. There's a unit of 6 Ogres. They got a Bellower as well as a Standard Bearer. They got hand weapons, light armor, as well as Iron Fists. And right in front of them, those are the Beast Claw Raiders. It is a unit of 4 Mornfang Cavalry with Bellower and a Standard Bearer. They're equipped with hand weapons, heavy armor, as well as Iron Fists. And that pretty much makes up my deployment on this one. So with deployment width, we go directly over the top of turn number 1, and Odeth and I roll off for initiative to see who goes first. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 1 for the Ogre Kingdoms, and this photo is taken after the move phase. And as you can see in this photo, I just start marching as quickly as, well, not as quickly as I can, but I start moving forward directly towards my opponent. I elect not to march because I have a 12-inch march movement for most of my guys if I decide to march forward, and I really don't want to be counter-charged. I want to do the charging because I want the Ogre charge abilities. So because I only move up normal 6-inch movement allowance for most of my guys. I do move up 8 inches over to the right-hand side with the Mornfang Cav, so that way they're protecting my right-hand flank. I then move up I actually do march up my Bulls from the Red Rovers, so that way they're in line with the rest of my units, so that way they're protecting the right-hand flank of my Iron Gut units, my Stankum's Legion. Right next to them, I also moved up the Powder Gangers on the left-hand side, and same thing with the Anvil of Hell and the Hammer of the Gods, so that way they can open up their cannons directly to my opponent's main lines. And that pretty much makes the move phase on this one. Here's a close-up of the main body of my army with my 2 Iron Blasters starting to crest the hill, so that way they can engage targets with their cannons. And at the same time, I also got my Lead Belchers moving up forward as well, so that way they're in range to open up with their Lead Belcher guns. And of course, you can see Stankum's Legion also moving up forward as quick as they can in order to engage my opponent as well. And then finally, you got my picture of my flanks. I got my Mornfang Cav from the Beast Claw Raiders protecting my right-hand flank, and same thing with the Red Rovers. So with the move phase over with, we go directly to the magic phase. And for the most part, magic phase was pretty lackluster. Most of my spells did get dispelled during the chaos. I did manage to get a fireball spell off onto the Second Sons. Only managed to kill one of those guys as well. Unfortunately for me, though, they're well within range of their general to get leadership buffs. So because of that, they don't break and they don't go anywhere. So with the magic phase over with, we go directly to the shooting phase. And in the shooting phase, the glorious, glorious shooting phase, it was absolutely fantastic on that one as well. So, first thing I do is I open it with my lead belchers from the powder gangers. They open fire directly into the Stormlords. Managed to plink off 9 of those guys right off the bat with the multiple shots that I got. I think I got like 28 shots off, and in the end I managed to kill 9 of those guys. So that part was pretty epic as well. Needless to say, those guys pass their panic checks, so they don't go anywhere. And the next beautiful thing as well is that I opened up a cannon with the Anvil of Hell, the Hammer of the Gods, aiming directly into Skrokali cost. So the first thing I do is I open up fire, of course, and I measure from 10 from the back as well when I open up fire with my shot. The shot landed actually 6 inches, so it landed right behind the pink horrors there and then bounced forward another 6 inches, landing directly into Skrokali cost. When I actually hit him, of course, he had his magic armor save, didn't get an armor save from his chaos armor, but he did have a ward save from his charm shield, which is a 2-up ward save. So he rolls up his 2-up, and unfortunately for him though, he rolls a 1, so nothing happens there. The charm shield doesn't work for him. And he's also got a 5-up demonic save, and he rolls that one, he rolls a 3. So because of that, the cannonball hits him right center of mass, and when I rolled for the damage that I did, I rolled a perfect 6, and needless to say, Skrokali cost, the Warden of Pathways, goes down in the very first opening salvos of the game. Luckily for my buddy Odeth though, all of his guys pass their panic checks, so no one flees, but that part was freaking amazing. And to add icing on the cake, I did exactly the same thing with the Anvil of Hell. I opened up directly into his Mutilith Vortex Beast. I fired 10 from the back. I rolled an 8, and then I rolled a 4 for the bounce, so landed right smack dab into the monster. My friend failed his ward save on that guy, even though he's got a 5 ward save. He failed the ward save on that one, and when I rolled the dice, I rolled a 6 again, just like that, and bam, that Mutilith Vortex Beast died right off the bat. So right in the opening salvos of the game, my friend has lost one of his monsters as well as his general, and things are not looking really good at all for the Esoteric Order of the Thousand Suns. Alright, so we go directly to the top of turn number 1 for the Chaos Legion of Tzeentch. So my buddy Odeth, since he has no quit on him, he decides to advance forward anyways. The first thing he does, of course, is he starts marching forward is what he does. He marches forward, first of all, with his 2 pink horror units, so both the Red Hook horrors as well as the Dunwich horrors, they move up forward to act as blockers to protect his infantry forces. Plus, it puts them within good enough range for them to use their blue fire Tzeentch spells, which I am kind of worried about because they are powerful magic missile spells. And then, of course, he brings up his Zangor to protect the left-hand flank, as well as the Stormlords moving up forward as well. At the same time, he also moves up his Chaos Knights to the Second Sons. He doesn't march them forward. He kind of keeps them slightly back just because he doesn't want to get countercharged. And at the same time, makes a much longer distance charge that I have to make my Mornfang calves, so pretty smart idea at that one. At the same time, he also march flies Skex's Dark Crystal, his exalted hero, over the far right hand side behind that tower, so that way he can get my Mornfang Cavalry on the flank or in the back either if I decide to charge forward. So pretty cool maneuvering from my opponent there at the same time. Meanwhile, on the left-hand flank, he also march flies his Screamers of Tzeentch. Both the Colors out of Space as well as the Hunters of the Dark fly forward 20 inches across the battlefield, sweeping along that hill, heading directly towards my Iron Blasters. And so I got to worry about those things eating my guys alive, because those things tear up large targets like it's nobody's business. And that pretty much makes the move phase for the Esoteric Order of the Thousand Suns. Here's a close-up of the Screamers of Tzeentch, the Haunters of the Dark, as well as the Colors of Space, swooping around the left-hand flank, heading directly towards my Iron Blasters, and that's pretty terrifying, to say the least. And here's a close-up of the Dunwich Horrors, as well as the Red Hook Horrors, as well as the Zangor and the Stormlords and the Second Sons, moving across the battlefield, heading directly towards my troops. And finally, here's a close-up of Skex's Dark Crystals, kind of cowering behind that tower, getting ready to flank or rear charge my Mornfang Cav if I decide to charge forward. So with that being said, that pretty much ends up the move phase. With that, we go directly to the magic phase. And during my opponent's magic phase, I decide to strike forward with the Hell Hearts. So Burps of Blood raises up in the air and calls forth its power. I rolled a d6 times 5 inches, which was a 3, so everything within 15 inches, of course, had to take miscast rolls. And since both units of Pink Horrors are wizards, they both suffer miscasts. On the left-hand side, we have the Red Hook Horrors. On the right-hand side, suffer a 7 on their miscast. On the left-hand side, the Dunwich Horrors suffered a 4 on their miscast. So things are looking pretty epic.
Klaatu, Verada,
So for the Dunwich Horrors, of course, because they've miscast 4, the giant 10-inch template goes over directly in the entire unit. A magical vortex explodes forward, causing some damage. Unfortunately for my friend Odeth, 7 of his pink horrors ended up getting killed. 6 of them got killed by the blast. The last one got sucked into the warp as well from the explosion as well, leaving only 3 pink horrors for him. The only silver lining, of course, is that his guys are immune to psychology, so they don't really have to worry about taking panic tests. Meanwhile, for the Red Hook Horrors, the champion, of course, rolled a 7, so because of that, everything within base contact of him suffers a strength 10 hit, so he loses 2 of his pink horse in the Red Hook Horrors as well. And needless to say, because of the power drain that took place from the Winds of Magic, he ran out of power dice, wasn't able to cast any spells his magical turn. So things are just not working too well for my buddy O'Death at this point. So with that pretty much ends up his turn, so we go directly to the top of turn number 2 for the Ogre Kingdoms, and this photo is taken after the movement phase. So this time I decided to small blood in the water, and I decided to charge forward. So the first thing I do, of course, is I declare a charge with my Beast Claw Raiders, who make it directly into the Second Sons, so they're engaged in close combat. At the same time, I also charge forward the Red Rovers directly into the Red Hook Horrors on the right-hand side, so they're engaged in close combat. At the same time, I charge forward with Stankum's Legion directly into the last 3 members of the Dunwich Horrors there on the left-hand side. My plan for that one's pretty simple. Hopefully my impact hits will just destroy that unit, because I rolled an 11 to make that charge distance, so they get their D3 impact hits, which is pretty awesome as well. And then my plan is to just blow right through that unit in the close combat phase, and hopefully I can overrun and hit those Zangor there on the left-hand side. At the same time, I also move up my Powder Gangsters up their normal 6-inch movement forward, so that way they can open fire with their lead belcher cannons directly into the Zangor there on the left-hand side. So hopefully I can just destroy that unit, and then I can charge directly into the Storm Lords and then finish those guys off in close combat. At the same time, for my 2 Iron Blasters, the Anvil of Hell as well as Hammer of the Gods, I just have them kind of wheel left to the right, to the left a little bit, so that way they can take aim with their grape shots directly into the 2 units of Screamers. And that pretty much makes up the movement phase on this one. Alright, so here's a close-up of the move phase on the left-hand flank. Both my Iron Blasters, the Anvil of Hell as well as the Hammer of the Gods, just kind of pivot a little bit to the left to open up a grape shot directly into the Colors Out of Space as well as the Haunters Out of the Dark. Here's a close-up of the center with my Stankum's Legion getting ready to go right through the Dunwich Horrors directly into the Zangor. And you can also see my Powder Gangers getting ready to open up with their lead belcher guns into that huge unit of Gores as well, so that way I can take those guys out. And here's a close-up of the Red Rovers charging directly into the Red Hook Horrors, then planning on blowing through those guys and engaging into the Storm Lords as well. And finally, here's a close-up of my Beast Claw Raiders charging directly into the Second Sons, and I have no illusions that this combat is going to be, very difficult at all. I'm just going to destroy these guys and go right through them as quickly as I possibly can. And that pretty much makes it the move phase on this one. So with the move phase over with, we go directly to the magic phase.
Klaatu, Marata,
And this time during the magic phase, disaster strikes. When I roll for the Winds of Magic, I roll double ones. So because of that, there is no magic phase for me on this one, so I'm really sad about that one. This is the second time this has happened to me as a mini battle report, so that's kind of rough. So with the magic phase over with, we go directly to the shooting phase, and I concentrate fire with both the Anvil of Hell as well as the Hammer of the Gods directly into the Colors Out of Space. I open fire with 2 groups of great shots right directly into that unit and manage to atomize those guys without a problem whatsoever. So that part was kind of cool. The only problem though is that the Hunters of the Dark, of course, are unfazed by the fact that one of the units of Screamers got destroyed because they have immune to psychology. So that part's kind of rough. So these things will be charged in one of my Iron Blasters, which is kind of rough because with that Lamprey Bright, they'll be able to destroy my Iron Blasters with no problem whatsoever.
Retreat! Let's get the hell out of here!
However, over here on the left-hand side of the battlefield, right-hand side of the battlefield in the center, I open up with my Powder Gangers directly into the Zangor, and I managed to wipe out a good number of them, almost about half of the unit. I managed to wipe out right off the bat. In fact, I think there's only 13 of those guys left. So because of that, of course, they had to take panic tests, and since their Battle Center banner is on the other side of the board, they failed their panic tests, so because of that, they run back, I think, 10 or 11 inches. I forgot how many inches they run back. But they run back quite a distance, and they're breaking, and they're running for the hills as well. Which is great, because what that does now is that kind of frees up my Stankum's Legion to engage as Chaos Warriors, which will be perfectly fine in this case. So that part was pretty awesome. So with the shooting phase over with, we go directly to the combat phase. Needless to say, in the combat phase, and when according to plan, I got Ogre charge bonuses off for both my Stankum's Legion as well as my Red Rovers managed to get 10 or higher on their charges. So because of that, the impact hits alone for my Stankum's Legion just actually atomized what was left of the Dunwich Horrors. Same thing with the Ogre charges from my Red Rovers against the Red Hook Horrors. That killed quite a bit, and of course normal combat just destroyed them as well. And since the combat with the enemy was pretty much destroyed on that part, I decided to charge forward and overrun with the Red Rovers, who go directly into the Second Sons. I decided to do exactly the same thing with Stankum's Legion. I actually tested for them to hold their ground, and they did. I did a quick combat reform so that way they can charge directly into the front of the Second Sons as well during our next movement phase. And that pretty much makes the combat phase over here in the center of the battlefield. And over here on the right hand side, the impact hits pretty much did the work for me against those Chaos Knights. I managed to kill 2 of those guys just from impact hits alone, which is pretty awesome as well. Now the Second Sons did manage to kill one of my Mordheim calves, so that part was kind of sad, but in the end though, my Mordheim calf, when they did their counterattacks, was able to wipe out the last 2 members of the Second Sons as well. I decided to overrun as well and decided to test to a strain, and they passed their test, and of course they turn over a little bit so that way they can charge directly into the right hand flank of the Stormlords as well. However, in the end, it really didn't matter because my buddy O'Death decides to call the game at this point, realizing he's not going to be able to pull off a victory on this one. And as you can see here, pretty much most of his army is pretty much destroyed, which nets another victory for the Ogre Kingdoms. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, go directly to the after action report because this battle report is now officially over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Sure, I could have stayed in the past. Could have even been king. But in my own way, I am king. Hail to the king, baby.
Alright folks, now it's time for the after action report. This is the part of the battle report we talk about what went well, what went poorly, and what will be coming for the next time that we do battle. This is the after action report for the Golden Age battle report number 68, and this one ended up being a victory for yours truly. I netted 1,820 victory points, while my friend O'Death netted 0 victory points. In the end, O'Death, he lost Grokalikos, the Warden of Pathways, the Red Hook Horrors, the Dunwich Horrors, the Second Sons, the Colors Out of Space, and the Shadow over Innsmouth. Meanwhile, I lost nothing. And just to be flat out honest in this game, I was extremely lucky this battle, and from turn 1, my buddy O'Death, he was really just struggling with the dice is what it was. This battle was kind of a really difficult for him, and it's not really his fault, all things considered. And the reason why is because the dice were just not with him during this battle, and my dice were with me on mine, so that's the only reason why he lost his battle report. Losing his Vanilla Vortex Beast and his Demon Prince right in the opening turn of the game was extremely devastating. He lost 2 really powerful units right off the bat, and that was just due to me getting lucky rolls on 6s and him just kind of failing his ward saves for the most part, so that part was really tough as well. Not to mention the sheer firepower that my Iron Blasters as well as my Ledge Belchers were bringing to this battle was also a huge factor as well. Helped me kind of break his Zangor, at the same time kind of destroy one of his units of Screamers as well. Another fact that really helped me out on this one as well was the Hell Hearts. When I popped the Hell Hearts, really impacted O'Death's forces as well. It really weakened his units of Pink Horrors. It stopped them from using their magic missile spells. And at the same time, it also kind of weakened them a little bit too. I mean, the Dunwich Horrors only had 3 Horrors left when it was all said and done. And I managed to take out 3 Horrors from the Red Hook Horrors as well. So it really softened up his infantry forces so that way I could blast right through them with Ogre charges, and then start focusing on his Stormlords as well. And so like I said before, it was a really extremely rough game for my buddy O'Death, but he persevered like a champ. He kept on playing. He didn't lose his cool about it or get really too upset about it. He was just having a good time. So just like always, playing against him is always a fun time, and I am looking forward to get the rematch against him as well. So that's a good deal for this one, you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is always appreciated. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest hobby news on this channel. That's good to do for this one, you guys. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.